Yo, what's up, my friends? It's Steve from Straight Fire Picks. We got best bets for Thursday night football, week number 2 here in the NFL between the Minnesota Vikings and the Philadelphia Eagles on Thursday, September 14th, 2023. We're going to have NFL player props, spreads, over-unders, totals, and we have a same-game parlay here for you today that I think are great value bets for this Thursday night football game between the Vikings and the Eagles. We're going to have 3 picks and the same game parlay, like I said. If you guys are new to the channel here today, please be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Always appreciate that. We are on the road to 7,000 subscribers. Appreciate all of your guys' support as always. You guys absolutely rock. Make sure you guys drop your favorite pick down below in the comment section as well. If you guys would like your pick included in our comment capper section, just be sure to put a star or an asterisk next to your pick. We'll include your pick in the video if it hits. All right, guys, recap here from Monday Night Football. I'd rather not do the recap, but we did have some good comment cappers that hit, so let's start with that. We had Eric and me calling Dalton Kincaid over 2.5 receptions as cashes with 3. We had Demetrius Smith calling Stephon Diggs anytime touchdown score with the Jets plus 6.5 spread. Love to see that. And then we had Don't Panic RS calling the Jets plus 3. Great calls there from our comment cappers. Those all hit, so we'd love to see that. As far as those stream results, it was horrible, guys. We ended up going 0-3. We had the Bills -2 spread. If you guys watched that game, I don't know what I watched at the end of that game. Josh Allen, 4 turnovers. Bills were in command most of that game. Ended up losing it in overtime. Just a disgusting game. Then we had Dalton Kincaid over 27.5 receiving yards. He finishes with 26. And this was early third quarter. He got that third catch to get to 26 yards. And couldn't get 2 more yards. So obviously that really hurt. That one probably hurt the most. Then we had Garrett Wilson over 69.5 receiving yards. You guys saw Aaron Rodgers gets hurt like the first, second play of the game. It pretty much kills that bet because I'm not betting on Zach Wilson to throw the ball to Garrett Wilson, even though they did hook up a few times. Just wasn't enough, though. So really just terrible luck altogether in week 1. We ended up going 3-9 in week 1, guys. It was a horrible week 1. Really excited to bounce back here in week 2. We did make some big adjustments here for this game. So you guys are going to definitely see a different style of pick here in for this game. So I have no problem with it. But let's get after it today, guys. Let's get this 3-0 sweep. And we got a risk-free same-game parlay on FanDuel. They have a promo going for that, so make sure you guys take advantage of that. We will show that here to you at the end of this video. Some more props I like. I put them all on a parlay. Let's get after it today, guys. Let's get right into our picks here. And number 1, we're going with Jordan Addison under 39.5 receiving yards here for the Minnesota Vikings. -114 odds here on FanDuel. So we got the rookie here, Addison, who reeled in 4 catches last week, 61 yards on 6 targets, had a long of 39 on the catch. So what's the deal here with Addison? So my bet is that, for one, I don't think the Eagles defense is going to give up a 40-yard bomb to Addison. I don't see that happening. And honestly, for him to go over, I think he's going to have a huge catch to hit that over. Just because you have a lot of target share that's obviously going to go to Hockenson and Justin Jefferson. I don't see Addison, the rookie, going on the road here versus the Eagles, having a lot of success versus the secondary, which is still ranked 3rd coming into 2023. The secondary for the Eagles is projected to be very good. If the Eagles have a weakness right now, it's going to be the middle of the field with the tight ends. So that's why if you're going to take an over for the Vikings, I might suggest TJ Hockenson. But as far as Addison on the outside here, I just don't see it. I think this Eagles secondary will be able to lock him down. I didn't take Justin Jefferson's under. His over-under is at 94.5. I don't mind it, but Jefferson's just so good he could beat anybody. Addison's still a rookie, right? Still young in the NFL. And I just don't see him having huge success versus a very good secondary here in the Philadelphia Eagles. Like I said, we saw him catch 4 passes, last week. His over/under for receptions this week set to 3.5 with juice on the under. So the books aren't exactly projecting him to have a big day, even as far as a reception standpoint. So if he's going to go over, he would have to hit a big play, and I just don't see it happening versus this Eagles defense, to be honest with you, especially in the home opener when this defense is going to be fired up and locked in. I just don't see that happen. Eagles allowed the 4th fewest yards to wide receivers in 2022. Eagles also allowed the fewest yards per play in 2022. So this defense was not accustomed at all to giving up the big play. Now, they did give up a few last week in Foxborough to the Patriots, but that was more to the tight ends. A lot of that happened with the tight ends, so that's why I'd recommend, if you're going to play an over, I'd suggest TJ Hockenson in this game. And like I said, Jordan Addison's a young rookie. He's definitely going to be good. Showcased some good things last week, but I got him going under this week. Love it there for our number one pick, guys. Going Jordan Addison, under 39.5 receiving yards here for the Minnesota Vikings. Minus 114 odds here on FanDuel. Okay, and at number 2, we are going with Jalen Hurts, under 32.5 pass attempts here for the Philadelphia Eagles. Minus 114 odds here on FanDuel. So we actually saw Hurts last year, guys, go under an 8 out of 10 home games last season, including the playoffs. So obviously love seeing that, including versus the Vikings at home on Monday night last year. He threw 31 passes versus the Vikings last year. I think 32.5 is a number I'm comfortable with here versus a team in the Vikings where I could see this being a blowout, right? Spread here set to 7 for the Eagles favorite. So the books tend to think, this is leaning towards an Eagles blowout. And if that's the case, obviously they're not going to have to throw the ball so much near the end of the game. Eagles, as we know, have a very potent rushing attack with Jalen Hurts and obviously DeAndre Swift and Gainwell. So I could see obviously the Eagles here running the ball a good amount in this game. And even if they do throw, I do think this Vikings defense will give up big pass plays as well, which would mean less completions, less attempts necessary. If you saw Hurts last year versus the Vikings, he was 26 out of 31 in that game. Hyper efficient. So I think the Vikings, once again, could be in for a rough day versus the Eagles, and Hurts just isn't going to have to air it out all that much. We saw last season, 10 out of 15 regular season games last year under, including, like I said, 31 versus the Vikings. That was total for Jalen Hurts there during the regular season, so that's pretty good overall. And Vikings versus opposing quarterbacks on the road last year. I like this looking at the road stats because, typically you're going in on the road. A lot of times you're playing from behind. Vikings 5 out of 8 to this line on the road versus opposing quarterbacks. So opposing quarterbacks went under in 5 out of 8 road games for the Vikings last year. So I like seeing that as well. I think, Hurts had 33 passes last week in a close football game up in Foxborough. Returning home, they can really get this running game going. They can really dominate this game, I think, start to finish potentially. And I like the idea of Hurts here going under. It's a lot of pass attempts. So, love it there for our number 2 pick, guys. We're going Jalen Hurts under 32.5 pass attempts here for the Philadelphia Eagles. Minus 114 odds here on FanDuel. Okay, and finally at number 3, we're going with the Minnesota Vikings team total under 20.5 points here. Minus 115 odds here on PointsBet. Love this one, guys. We saw last year 8 out of 11 games under at home last season for the Eagles versus opponents, including, again, versus the Minnesota Vikings, who scored just 7 last year in week 2 last year on Monday Night Football. So is it going to be quite that bad? I don't know if it'll be quite that bad. I mean, I got the Vikings maybe scoring 13, 16 points in this game. I just think it's going to be really hard for them to get into the end zone with the losses of Thielen and Dalvin Cook. I think Dalvin Cook is such a huge loss for this team. I really do. Madison ran for just 34 yards last week, so really a non-existent running attack for the Vikings so far early on in the season. They scored just 17 points in week 1 at home to the Bucs. And the Bucs defense to me is definitely not on the level of the Eagles for sure. They're solid, but the Eagles defense definitely giving them a boost here. So I think the Eagles here can make the Vikings very one-dimensional, which is obviously going to be problematic here for their offense to have consistent results. It's going to look a lot like, the Bills did on Monday night. Very one-dimensional offense from the Buffalo Bills that we saw. You can see that from the Vikings here on Thursday night, right? If they can't run the ball, obviously this defense will be able to pin their ears back and really get after the quarterback and make it really tough on this offense to score touchdowns and finish off drives. So I think that's really the issue that I see here for the Vikings. Last year we saw the Eagles 5th in time of possession, so limiting those possessions for the other team. I think that's a big thing I'm looking at here. Like I said, home opener, don't underestimate the home opening energy here for the Eagles. I think that's a big part of it too. We saw the Jets defense flying around on Monday night. I think you can see that from the Eagles here on Thursday night as well. Just making life difficult on this Vikings offense for sure. So, like I said, the losses to Adam Thielen and Dalvin Cook I think are going to be felt this year. Vikings offense obviously didn't look great in week 1. And Eagles, despite not really playing that great in Foxborough, still only allowed 20 points to the Patriots. So that under still ended up cashing, believe it or not. So do love it there, guys. For number 3 pick, we're going Minnesota Vikings. Team total under 20.5 points here versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Minus 115 odds here on PointsBet. All right, it is now time for our same game parlay, guys. Here we go. Here's what we got. Here's what we're rolling with here today. Risk-free, 4 legs here, guys, plus 1345. Make sure you guys use your promo that you have for this game. So under 48.5 total points for the game. So obviously we talked about why I like the Vikings team total under. But the under in general, guys, is hitting 9 out of the last 10 Thursday night games. So we love seeing that. I think, and we saw a lot of unders hitting in week number 1, right? Unders were really the story as far as points go. So I think we can see that again. Heck, especially on the Vikings side, I don't see them scoring a lot of points. Jalen Hurts over 44.5 rushing yards. So he had 57 yards rushing last year versus the Vikings in this meeting. Like I said, being at home, we could see the Eagles really control the clock, time of possession here, get Hurts running the football. Still ran it 9 times last week versus the Pats. Madison under 49.5 rushing yards. Like I said, 34 in week 1. Not convinced he's the guy. I'm just not. Him as a standalone back, I just don't have it, guys. I don't have the faith in Madison right now. Didn't see it in week 1. There's no reason to really think in week 2 on the road that he's going to go over, especially in a position where they could be playing from behind and they're going to have to throw the football. Hard to imagine him hitting that over. And then we talked about Hockenson as well. We got Hockenson over 49.5 receiving yards. So the weakness that we saw in the Eagles last week was versus tight ends, as they allowed the most receiving yards to tight ends in week number 1. And we also saw Hockenson once again gather 9 targets in week number 1 as well. Technically, he hit the under in yardage. But I think here versus the Eagles, he could find some seams here in the middle of the field. And like I say, he could end up hitting this over. I'm officially going to put a 1/10 of a unit on this guy, so I will track this towards our record or towards our unit. So just so you guys know, I'm putting 1/10 of a unit to basically win 1.35 units, right? Definitely think it's worth that risk. But really, it's basically risk-free on FanDuel. So definitely make sure you guys take advantage of that. All right, guys, that's going to do it for our picks. Hope you guys enjoyed the content. If you did, make sure you guys drop a like and subscribe. Like I said, we got to turn it around here in week number 2, right? Really rough week 1. Hoping we could turn it around. Made some big adjustments, obviously, as you guys saw. In our style of bets, and also taking some unders. We're going to focus in on some unders for a while and try to get things really rolling as far as that goes. So appreciate you guys. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and we will catch you next time. Peace out.